Imagine waking up to a world where the landmarks that define our collective memory, those grand, iconic sites that have drawn millions from every corner of the globe, suddenly vanish overnight. It's not just a hypothetical scenario. For some of these places, it's already happened. Their stories linger in photographs, postcards, and family tales, but the stones, the walls, the soaring facades, gone. Throughout history, the world has lost treasures so vast and so vibrant that it's hard to believe they once stood at all. Today, let's journey through the haunting tales of 15 world-renowned tourist attractions that you can no longer visit, not because they're off-limits, but because they've been erased from the earth itself. We begin in the heart of New York City, where the original Penn Station once stood as a Beaux-Arts masterpiece. When it opened in 1910, it was a cathedral to travel. Soaring columns, marble floors, sunlight pouring through vaulted glass. Millions passed through its gates, marveling at its grandeur. But in 1963, progress demanded a new Madison Square Garden, and the wrecking balls came. In less than a year, a century's worth of artistry was reduced to rubble. The station's disappearance sparked a preservation movement, but for Penn Station, it was already too late. Across the Atlantic, the Berlin Wall carved a city, a nation, and the world itself into two. For decades, the wall was a symbol of division, then, almost overnight, a symbol of hope and unity. When it fell in 1989, jubilant crowds chipped away at its concrete, eager to claim a piece of history. Today, only fragments remain in museums and memorials, the rest scattered across the globe or lost to time, its full, menacing presence erased from Berlin's streets forever. In the remote Bamiyan Valley of Afghanistan, two monumental Buddhas once gazed out over the landscape. Carved directly into the cliffside in the 6th century, these statues were wonders of both art and faith, standing 175 feet tall. For over 1,000 years, they survived conquest, neglect, and the elements. But in 2001, the world watched in horror as they were destroyed, reduced to dust in a single, shattering moment. Further east, the Kowloon-walled city in Hong Kong was a living contradiction, the densest place on Earth, a labyrinthine hive of humanity, light, and lawlessness. With its layers upon layers of apartments, shops, and alleys, it drew curiosity seekers and thrill chasers from around the world. By the 1990s, the city was cleared, flattened, sanitized, and replaced by a park. What was once a chaotic, vibrant world unto itself is now only a memory. The Crystal Palace in London dazzled visitors to the Great Exhibition of 1851, a palace of iron and glass, an engineering marvel that became a symbol of the Victorian age. Crowds wandered beneath its shimmering roof for decades, until a devastating fire in 1936 left nothing but twisted metal and ash. Today, only its name survives in the surrounding neighborhood. In Florida, Disney's River Country was the original water park, a rustic, playful oasis that welcomed families seeking fun and adventure. But after mysterious closures and years of abandonment, nature took over, algae, vines, and silence reclaiming what humanity had built. Demolition crews eventually erased every trace, leaving only photographs and faded memories. The Amber Room in Russia was once called the eighth wonder of the world, a chamber lined with panels of glowing amber and gilded mirrors, a jewel box of unimaginable beauty. During World War II, it was stolen by the Nazis and spirited away. Despite decades of searching, its location remains one of history's greatest mysteries. The room's original splendor is lost, its fate unknown. Dreamland at Coney Island in New York was once the very definition of spectacle, lions, lagoons, and electric wonders that lit up the night. But in 1911, fire swept through, consuming the park in a matter of hours. Dreamland was never rebuilt, its magic now only a sepia-toned legend. On the Pacific coast, San Francisco's Sutro baths were a marvel of luxury and scale. Massive saltwater pools, grand staircases, glass pavilions. But fate and fire intervened, and in 1966, the baths were gutted and left to the sea. Today, only haunting ruins remain, perched at the edge of the continent. The Palace of the Republic in Berlin was a stark, modernist icon of East Germany, a hall of concerts and conferences. But after unification, it was deemed an eyesore, bulldozed to make way for the reconstruction of a Prussian palace. The past overwritten, one structure erased to revive another. On Jeju Island, in South Korea, Loveland dared to be different, a theme park dedicated to the playful and the risque. But controversy and censorship followed in its wake, leading to the quiet removal and destruction of many sculptures. Portions of the park have vanished, leaving only whispers of their existence. Six Flags. New Orleans was once alive with laughter and thrill-seekers, but Hurricane Katrina transformed it into an eerie, abandoned shell. Rides rust, weeds grow, and silence reigns. Officially condemned, it stands as a post-apocalyptic reminder of nature's power and human fragility. The original Moulin Rouge in Paris was the birthplace of cabaret, the spark that ignited a worldwide phenomenon. But in 1915, fire destroyed the original building. What stands today is a reconstruction, a tribute, not the original stage where legends once danced. The Hippodrome of Constantinople was once the gathering place of emperors, the roar of chariot races echoing across the ancient city. Now, only fragments remain, buried beneath the streets of modern Istanbul, its full grandeur lost to history and urban sprawl. Finally, the Elgin marbles, once a crowning glory of the Parthenon in Athens, were removed and shipped abroad, breaking apart the sculpture that had stood for centuries. Today, they are displayed far from their original home, their context and unity lost, their absence still a point of international debate. As Dr. Carla Reynolds, a leading cultural preservation analyst, notes, when iconic structures vanish, so does the collective memory tied to them. It's not just the architecture we lose, it's the context. Professor Elias Ford, an expert in lost cities, adds, many of these sites were removed by war, fire, or politics, but perhaps the most haunting are the ones we simply abandoned. It begs the question, what if some of these landmarks aren't truly lost, but hidden? Are governments safeguarding blueprints, relics, or secret restoration plans? And which world-famous attraction might be next to vanish? Landmarks rise, crowds gather, selfies are taken, but in the end, time always wins. These 15 sites, once beacons for explorers and dreamers, remind us that even our greatest achievements are fleeting. So the next time you stand in awe of a global icon, take a long, thoughtful look. Because one day, it might live on only in stories like this.